Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. In the previous session, we have discussed about the numericals, right? We have solved the numericals based on RMS and average value. In one of the numerical equation is given, and in another numerical, one waveform is given, that is triangle waveform. Okay, and based uh, from this waveform, by using the equation of line or equation of slope, we have found out the uh, equation of the voltage or current, and then by using that equation we have obtained the RMS and average value, right? And one numerical I gave you for the homework, and I hope all of you have done that, right? Today we are going to start the new topic of from the same chapter, that is phasor representation of alternating quantities. Phasor representation of alternating quantity. So phasor or vector, generally the alternating quantity can be represented by these three forms: waveform, equations, and phasor. Already I discussed with all of you that first two methods. Suppose if we are talking about sinusoidal quantity, right? Suppose we are talking about sinusoidal quantity, then first of all it is represented by waveform, like this. Okay, 0, then pi, and this is 2 pi, one cycle. The same thing you can represent it by the equation. We know if this equation, if this is voltage, okay, then we can write V is equal to Vm sine theta or sine omega t or sine 2 pi ft, whatever. So by using the equation, by using the waveform, we can represent this alternating quantity. One more type is going to be added over here, and that is phasor representation. Phasor representation. Okay. A sinusoidal quantity can be represented by a rotating line, which is called phasor, or it is called vector. Means what is difference between vector and phasor? Okay. Suppose I have one line like this which is having magnitude and direction, okay? Then we can say it is vector. But when this vector is rotated either in clockwise or anti-clockwise direction with particular velocity, angular velocity we can say, then it is known as phasor. So phasor is a line of definite length which is rotating in anti-clockwise direction at constant angular velocity. Most of the time we are taking the reference direction is anti-clockwise, okay? So the same thing is there. Vector is a physical quantity which has magnitude as well as direction. Such vector quantities are completely known when particulars of their magnitude, direction, and the sense in which they act. They are graphically represented by straight line which is called vectors. So here you can see OP. This OP is one vector. Okay. So let me draw one line OP which is having the length equal to Im. So it is represented by the current vector. Im is the maximum value. So length of this OP is equal to Im, and it is rotated in anti-clockwise direction with velocity omega radian per second. This line rotates in anti-clockwise direction with omega velocity, okay, and it forms the circular trajectory, right? So continuously it is rotating in this manner. You can see the vector is continuously rotating like this, okay, and it follows this circular trajectory. At any instant, the projection of OP on y-axis is given by its instantaneous value. For example, see, right now this OP vector makes an angle theta with reference, with respect to this reference, okay. So you when the vector is at an at certain angle, then you have two components, one on the x-axis and another one on the y-axis. Here you can write OP cos theta, and on the vertical line you can write OP sin theta. So OP sin theta, OP is what? Im. OP is the length of vector, which is Im. So when I write OP sin theta, and if I put OP is equal to Im, then Im sin theta or Im sin omega t is what? The instantaneous value. That means the vertical component or y-axis component always will give me the instantaneous value, right? For example, if vector is over here, then you will find the y-axis component somewhere at this point. If your vector is on second quadrant, again you will get the y-axis component over here. If your vector is over here, then you will get y-axis component over here. That means every time the y-axis component will give you the instantaneous value, okay. Hence the line OP is phasor representation of sinusoidal current like this. So you can see here graphical and vector both are combined, so that you can understand that how it happens. When your vector is on the reference, that means at 0 degree, so you are at this point, because I'm not getting any component on the y-axis. When as soon as it starts rotating and it will reach over here, okay, at that time you will get y-axis component somewhere over here, and corresponding this, if you just project the line on this side, then this will be the instantaneous value for that particular point, right? Similarly, it is continuous rotating. So suppose at this point, again this will be the second instantaneous value. Then when your vector rotates and it will reach at this 90-degree axis, okay, you will get the maximum. So in this way, with the rotation, when it will reach at this axis, right, then you will get negative maximum. And again when it will complete one cycle, means rotate, this vector completes one complete rotation, you are at this point, means it is 360-degree now, or 2 pi. Got it? So if we see with complete animation, then it will look like this. You will get instantaneous values in this manner. So you just take into account these two dots. One dot is moving on this axis and another dot is moving on this axis. You can see. So this is what the phasor representation of alternating quantity. Now alternating quantities of same frequency. So if you see, we have two different quantities are there. First is I equal to Im sine omega t, that is current. Second one is E is equal to Em sine omega t, that is omega t plus alpha, that is voltage. Okay. How we can say the frequency of both equations are same? You can see this omega, and here also it is omega, and we know omega is equal to 2 pi f. If any change in frequency is there, then that multiplying factor written over here. For example, if it is like that, 4 pi f, okay, instead of 2 pi f, then it is 2 into 2 pi f, right? So it will be 2 omega. That means frequency is double than the fundamental. But here in both the equation omega and omega is mentioned, so you can just consider the same frequency over here. Okay, anyone can tell me the relation in between these two? If you see, in the current is it is given Im sine omega t only, but voltage is given like this, Em sine omega t plus alpha. So what is the meaning of this? No one? Voltage leads the current. Very good. So here we can say this voltage leads the current by an angle alpha, or current current is lagging the voltage by angle alpha. So if you draw the waveform, then first of all, as here angle is nothing, that means it is 0. So we can consider this I as a reference. So it is drawn like this. Okay. And E leads the current by angle alpha. So you have to provide the alpha degree in between these two. So you can see angle alpha is provided. That means at this point your voltage is crossing 0. So after alpha degree, the, the current is going to be cross that point. So in this way we can say this voltage indicates the leading relation with the current. Okay. Same thing you can draw with the vector. With respect to this, if it is omega t, then omega t is for Im, and then you just add alpha in that, you will get Em. If someone wants to draw like this is Im, and then at alpha degree it is Em. Sorry. This is also correct because I'm taking the reference directly, right? So omega t plus 0 means you are just draw your vector on the reference axis, and plus alpha, so I'm just adding the alpha. Now anti-clockwise direction, if it is rotating with the constant velocity, who is leading now? Every time Em is leading with respect to current. Now if two or multiple vectors are given, then it is required to draw, to add that vectors in order to find one equivalent, right? So in order to find the vector addition of two or more vectors, we have different methods available, like waveform addition, the first method. Then we have the parallelogram method. Consider this is second one. And the third one is the method of component. Okay. So let us discuss one by one. Waveform addition method. Two rotating vectors representing the maximum value of two sinusoidal voltage waves represented by E1 and E2. E1 is equal to Em1 sine omega t, E2 is equal to Em2 sine omega t minus phi. So in this case we can say like this, that E2 is lagging with respect to E1 by angle phi, right? Okay. The sum of these two sine waves of same frequency is another sine wave of same frequency, but different maximum value and phase. So that you can see over here. Right now, here it is given that omega t plus or minus 0, right? That means I can take this vector as a reference. So you can see I'm directly draw this EM1 on the reference axis. With respect to EM1, EM2 is lagging because it is minus sign by angle phi. So I have to draw it on this direction, and you can see the angle is phi. Now if it rotates in the anti-clockwise direction with the velocity omega, then what happens? Every time your EM1 will lead the EM2. Okay. Now if you find the resultant of these two, vector, then it will be ER. Resultant of these two is ER. So the corresponding, you can also represent both these things into the graphical representation in order to understand it properly. For example, this is my E1, and then by legging phi angle, I will have E2, the second one. Okay. Now someone wants to know that how we are getting the resultant. It's very simple. Just you have to add two values E1 and E2. For example, see, if I take this particular point, so at this particular instant, you have the value of E2 as well as E1. If you can see on the y-axis in both the case, suppose here you have 5 and here you have 3. Just add these two, 5 plus 3. So you will get somewhere around over here. So this is your 1 point. Similarly, if you take multiple points, right, over here, then over here, on this side, okay. If you just consider the number of points, you will get your resultant, that is addition of these two. Got it? So like this you will form the two vector addition, and this purple color will give you the, this purple color will give you output, means resultant of both these two. And as it is continuously rotating like this, you can see. So in this way, this is the vector representation, and this one is your graphical representation. So this is very common method for waveform addition. But if you think right now, what we have do, I'm taking the multiple instantaneous points and one by one we are adding together, right? But method looks very easy because here only two vectors are given. If we have multiple number of waveforms, 4, 5, 6, 7, then this method will be tedious, right? So in that case, what we have to do, we must have any alternative, and for that we have method number 2, that is known as parallelogram method. Okay. So here you can see the parallelogram method. So I can write two equation over here. One is IMR1 means it's a RMS value, okay? IMR1 is equal to, what we can write, sine omega t, like this. So IM1 sine omega t. I am R1, and let us say this is I1, and I2 is I am R2 sine leading or lagging, leading by angle theta. So I can write omega t plus theta. Okay. So when you draw it, first of all I have this IM1. With respect to IM1, IM2 is leading at an angle theta, so you can draw like this. So let me just show you in the whiteboard. I will share with you. I1, first of all I am writing that equation, and I2. I1 is IM R1 to sine omega t. And here it is IM R2 sine omega t plus theta. Okay. So first of all I have to draw this IM R1. So let me draw IM R1. Okay, and I can write over here that it is IM R1. Then at an angle theta, I have the second vector, that is IM R2. Magnitude you have to represent. So let me take it with the green sign. This is IM R2, and this angle is theta. Now the method name is what? Parallelogram. So you have to make the parallelogram. How we can make the parallelogram? Okay. So for that you have to draw, listen carefully, you have to draw the same vector like IMR1, same vector like IMR1, and you have to put that vector on the peak of IMR2. Okay, you have to draw the same vector like IMR1, so vector look like same. it is parallel and equal in magnitude, and then put this vector on the peak of this vector. Similarly, draw the vector which is equal in magnitude and parallel to IMR2 and put on the peak of IMR1. So let us draw it. You can see it will look like same and parallel to this. Okay, and I'm putting it on the head of IMR2. So this will be the parallelogram. Now if you just join, if you join this line, okay, then this will be your resultant. This is what resultant means. Addition of these two, it will give you the resultant current. Okay, and this resultant is at certain angle with respect to this reference. Okay, first of all, tell me, anyone, any doubt up to this? Okay, now let me share PPT again. Then after I will come at this point again with the whiteboard. So far we have done the procedure up to this, right? And I have this resultant. Now I have to make two triangles in order to derive the equation, because I have to find this IMR and this angle. Okay, so again you can see on this whiteboard. First of all, let me write this angle is phi. Okay, now what I'm doing, I'm just extending this line further in this direction. Okay, also let us take it up to this only. Also I'm drawing one vertical line over here. So this will be 90 degree. This is 90 degree, and you can find two triangles over here. Two triangles. First triangle, let me just give the notation same as our slide so that there will be no any confusion. Okay, let us write, this is O, A, this one is B, is C and it is B. So one triangle, if you see OCD or ODC, bigger outer triangle, and second one you can see is ACD. Okay, ACD. During in this OD, I don't know the whole length of a OD, but yes, I know about up to OA, that is IMR1. AC I know or not? Yes, AC is what? Equal and parallel to OB. If OB is IMR2, then definitely AC is also IMR2, right? Because these two are equal. Similarly, these two are equal. Okay. You will soon understand that why we are doing this extra projection over here. So let us share this slide again. Now, what we have to do, consider the outer triangle OCD and apply the Pythagoras in that. Okay, OCD, this triangle. And if you apply the Pythagoras, then what happens? This OC square is equal to OD square plus CD square, right? OC square is equal to OD square plus CD square. Got it? Now OC is equal to square root of OD square plus CD square, but OD is what? OD is what? OA plus AD. OA plus AD. So same thing is written over here. Now, as I told you, I know the length OA, that is IMR1. Okay, but what about AD? So in order to find AD, you have to consider this smaller triangle ACD. Okay, so everyone consider triangle ACD and I have to find AD. Now tell me one thing, this angle means in between IMR1 and IMR2, this angle is theta, and we have drawn this AC line parallel to OB. So can I say this is also theta? Now I have to find AD. I have to find AD. So in this case, if I apply cos theta, nearest side is AD divided by hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is OC. OC is nothing but this resultant. OC is what? Sorry, not OC but AC. So AC is what? Equal to IMR2, right? This both are same. So I can write IMR2 or IM2. Take this IM2 on this side, so you will get AD IM2 cos theta. So now I know the whole length of OD, IM1 plus IM2 cos theta. Similarly, what about CD? I don't know about this length. I'm just taking the projection, right? But now again I can find, because CD if I have to find, then CD means what? Can I write like this? Sine theta is equal to CD upon hypotenuse AC. Again it is IM2 phi m2 into sine theta will be CD. Any doubt up to this? It's a simple mathematics. Now just simplify this. So I will get like this one, im1 square plus, see, this is what, x plus y whole square, right? So you can write like this, im1 square plus im1, 2 im1 im2 cos theta, 2 im1 im2 cos theta. And the last term is what? im2 square into cos square theta. And here you can see we have im2 square into sine square theta. So in the last term of this and this, im2 square is common. In bracket sine square theta plus cos square theta, this will be 1. So finally I have square root of im1 square plus im2 square plus 2 im1 im2 cos theta. This is what? OC. OC is what? The resultant. That is what we have to find. Okay. So yes, this is the equation that you have to remember. OC is equal to resultant is equal to square root of im1 square im2 plus im2 square plus 2 im1 im2 cos theta. In short, we can say if you just know the magnitude of two vector and angle in between these two, right? You can easily calculate the parallel resultant magnitude. Now, similarly, I want this phase angle as well, phi. How we can write for the phi? For that, you have to consider again this bigger triangle and apply the tan phi. So tan phi is what? CD upon OD. CD I know, im2 sine theta, and the whole OD I know, im1 plus im2 cos theta, right? So this is the phase angle. So I hope all of you are getting up to this. You have to remember these two equations for the phase angle and for the resultant. Okay, so if numericals can be asked from the parallelogram method, then normally you have given with this 2, 3 or 4 vectors, right? So the very first step that you have to draw the vectors. First step is to draw the vectors. So E1 first, what is it? 20 sine omega t plus pi by 3. Pi by 3 means 60 degree, right? So my first vector is at 60 degree. The magnitude is 20. Second is 3 pi by 3. So 3 pi by 3 means what? 3 pi by 3 means what? 135. 135 means this is 90, right? This vertical line. So your vector is in this quadrant. So let us draw it at 135. And the magnitude is 30. And the last is 40 sine omega t plus 4 pi by 3. 4 pi by 3 means 240. So here is 180 and this is 270. That means your vector is in between this. So this is my third vector at 240, its magnitude 40. How now anyone can tell me how we can apply the parallelogram method? No one? Okay, let us see. First of all, suppose I'm taking the addition of E1 and E2. Equation already you know, E1 square plus under root E1 square plus E2 square plus 2 E1 E2 into cos theta. Okay, so I have to first of all I have to add these two vectors, right? Remember, so addition of these two will give me one resultant. Now, whatever resultant you are going to obtain, that is added with the E3. Okay, so do not do like this, that E1 and E2 measure that add and you have the ER dash, then someone again E2 and E3 will be added and then we are getting one more and then it has to be added. Now it is not like that. Okay, now what I have to do, I have to add E3 and resultant means ER dash. So again you can do the parallelogram, and now this ER is your final answer. ER is the final answer. Right now, no need to do the calculation. For that, I will already will give you the numerical. But right now, just look at the procedure. Let me repeat it again. First of all, from the equation, you have to draw the vectors with respective position. Now there is no necessity that you have to draw at exact angle. 60° means 60° only. It's not like that. In exam, you can just draw the vector like this and you can just mention that yes, it is at the 60°. Okay. So first of all, draw all the vectors. Then I'm taking E1 and E2, add it with parallelogram method. Then the resultant with the remaining vector, again add it. Now suppose one more vector was there, E4, okay, somewhere on this quadrant. So what will be the next step? You have to add ER with the E4 by applying the same method. Everyone got it? How we have to proceed? Okay. Now let us discuss the next, that is our third method. This is actually very easy and most commonly used, because in this case whatever number of vectors are given, you can easily solve it. The method is known as method of component. Method of component. In this method, very simple. You have to remember nothing. For example, in the parallelogram method, in the yes, Daria, what is this? Are you taking lecture which is at 4:15? No, my lecture is from 3:25 to 4:25, right? Is there any update? Okay. So in this method, very simple. In the parallelogram method, at least you have to remember that two equation, but here no need to remember that equation also. Just you have to do this procedure. Each phasor is resolved into horizontal and vertical component. All of you know about that. For example, if the vector is given like this, then if your axis is like this, then it will be resolved into x component and y component. That everyone can do, right? All the vertical components are added algebraically to get Iy. Means one vector means one vertical component, two vector, two vertical component, three vector, then three vertical components. So as many vectors are there, as many vertical components are there. So you have to just add it algebraically in order to get the resultant. Similarly, all the horizontal components are added and you will get the resultant Ix. Okay. So this is my resultant Iy and resultant Ix. And if you add like this, you will get your resultant current. So how we can find this resultant? If this is Ix, can I write this vertical line is equal to this one? So here I can write Iy. So what is IR? Square root of Ix square plus Iy square. So simple. You will get your resultant directly. And similarly, apply the tan phi. So what we are getting? Iy by Ix. Tan phi is equal to Iy by Ix. So phase angle phi is tan inverse Iy by Ix. Okay. So method of component is the easiest method out of all. Specifically for multiple vectors when it is given. For example, if I'm taking the three vectors again, okay, the same three vectors. In the previous slide, we have just seen the procedure of parallelogram method. Now, the same thing we can do with method of component. You can find the x and y component of each and every vectors like this, x component and y component. Similarly, x component of this and y component of this, x component of this and y component of this, right? So how many x components are there and how many y components? 3x and 3y. All three are added together for x and y, you will get the resultant. Okay. So like this, you can do it. So one x component is there, that capital X will give you the total x component. Similarly, total y. Then apply this equation, under root x square plus y square. And for angle, phi is equal to tan inverse y by x. Okay. Next time we will solve the numericals based on it, so that you will get the more idea. And most of the time we will focus on the xy component method, or method of component, because for multiple vectors this method will be very easy. And in the exam, if the method name is not specified, then I will suggest to solve the numerical with this method only, right? So now tell me, any doubt, anyone in today's session? We will keep up to this. Okay. So let me just give you the overall summary of today's session. Today we have started with the phasor representation of the quantity, right? And we have seen different methods of vector addition, like waveform addition, then parallelogram method, method of component, how to what is the procedure to solve the numericals. Next time we will solve the numerical based on this method, so that you will get more idea. Now no one leave the meeting. Let me share the Google form link to all of you. You all have to add your enrollment number in that form. Okay, that's a common practice. Normally, uh, we are doing from the starting only. All of you can find the link. Those who have submitted the response, they can leave. I got 18 responses out of 21. 3 students haven't submitted their response. Okay, everyone, thank you for attending this session. I'm going to end the meeting now.